RenderForest.com.
So, hello, how are you all doing? I'm Trisha Peach, the host of the Peach Buzz, and no, I'm not sick and not taking anything to extremes or anything like that. I wouldn't dream of it. So, I hope all of you have been, stocking up on your toilet paper, your water, wipes, hand sanitizer, yeah. So hopefully you guys have been, doing okay. I'm an extrovert. This is day 2. This is going to be a really tough thing for me. I had to go out today to get groceries just to get out of the house. But for the people out there whose families are sick, in all seriousness, I want you to know we're praying for you. Our church has prayer time set up just to pray for coronavirus. And this is a time when we need to be praying all over this world for the people who are infected and their families and those that aren't infected yet for an end to this horrible virus. This is a problem for the whole entire world right now. And we are all in this together. I teach, as many of you know, I teach some children from China online. I teach with Dada ABC. And now, I've taught the same children for almost 2 years. And now, when one of them is late, it's very difficult. And none of the children that I work with have been sick or anything like that. So I feel very blessed about that. But I've been thinking about, you may have noticed I haven't made any coronavirus statements online or YouTube or anything until now. I'm a wait and see type of person where I wanted to see how some of this would play out. And then I thought, you know what I'm going to do? A lot of families are at home now, and I wanted to give some suggestions of things that families can do and children's pastors can do when you are home. And I will say I am 100% for these churches that are streaming from home, because I feel like we got to do what we've got to do to bring the gospel out and yet be safe and protect people. And I want to see this virus come to an end so badly. I'll tell you, this was weird. We live in Wisconsin. I'm going to the big super Walmart. It's massive, and seeing aisle after aisle completely empty. I've never seen anything like that, ever. I asked some people who are older in our community, and they said they'd never seen anything like this ever. So some people do have a sense of panic. They're making a run on the stores, taking as much as they can and hoarding and wondering how long this is going to last and how much worse is this going to get. So I wanted to acknowledge that and say we need to continue to pray for the end of this virus and comply as much as we can for people's safety's sake. And then I wanted to say, how can I bring some positivity and some hope into this situation as much as I can? And I thought I'll just give my best tips that I have found for things to do for your family or for your kids' church when you are stuck at home during the coronavirus lockdown. So, without any further ado, let's talk about some really great things that you can be doing. I want to say, number one, now is the time to try to make some good memories with your kids. And before you get mad and start throwing stones at me, hang on. You say, well, how can you have good memories during this time? Well, here's one thing you need to know. The things that typically stick in a child's memory are things that are out of the ordinary. Well, guess what? This is out of the ordinary for all of us. This is completely out of the ordinary. So your child will remember this time. This is something that they will remember probably for the rest of their lives. So I want to put some better memories in this time as well and show them that we can find the positives in the middle of this. So my children are home too. Schools are all closed down here in Wisconsin. So what we're doing is we're going to be playing a lot of board games. My family likes board games anyway. Baking. We made a really special meal the other day, which was really good. We're going to make burritos tonight. We are trying to do fun things together. Movies. Our little movie rental place is still open, which is really awesome. So we went and grabbed a bunch of movies to watch. You can take hikes as a family. That's free. And, some good fresh air outside. It's Wisconsin. It's 40 degrees out. There's not a whole lot of people out there. So we've been taking, some walks. Our dogs still have to get walked, and thankfully none of us are sick. So that's been one way to get out and about. So what I would suggest is making some fun memories with your children during this time. So have a little camp out in your living room. Go camping with your kids in the living room. Make s'mores. Whatever will work to make some happy memories. There are things you can do in your home. Have a scavenger hunt. That's one of my kids' favorite things when I do a scavenger hunt. They love the scavenger hunts in the house. So make some good memories, ones that they will think back on 20 years from now. Secondly, we need to be a voice of positivity in the lives of our kids. I almost can't turn on the news right now, and I am definitely a big news buff, but it's so depressing, every single channel, and I believe it's important to stay informed, so I am watching, but I want to be some voice of positivity for my children, and I want them to understand what it means to be a Christian, and sometimes we have to walk that out, even when we adults are afraid. So how do we walk that out? Choose faith over fear. I keep reminding my kids of how many times God has come through for us before, and that God was not surprised by this, and that we can pray when we are afraid, and that we know God is still God. He hasn't taken a break. He hasn't taken time off. He's not quarantined to his house. He is still in control. So I try to not show fear and panic to my kids, and instead try to walk out how a Christian approaches these things. This would be the same as when you have a major death in the family. It's so difficult, but that's a time we have to show our children that we don't grieve like those who have no hope. We grieve, but we have a hope found in Jesus Christ. And I want my kids to see faith and see joy in the middle of an incredibly trying situation. Like I said, I've never seen anything like this before. And I keep reminding my kids, hey, we've got dinner on the table tonight. We've got dinner on the table. We are all healthy. We're warm, and we're going to be okay. God is going to get us through this. This is all about counting blessings, and if you watch my channel, I talk about practicing gratitude. So each night I keep telling my kids, I'm so thankful that you're healthy. I'm so thankful that we're warm. I'm really happy that Dad has work right now, and I can work, for Dada ABC because it's online. Substitute teaching, not so much at the moment, and travel for big ministry speaking engagements, no, not right now. But then just speaking words of gratitude and words of faith, not fear. However, I want to balance that. Everything in life is balance. I told my kids, we do our part. God does what only He can do, and we need to do what we can do. So the social distancing, washing our hands, getting enough rest, so we don't throw ourselves off a cliff and wait for the angels to catch us before we hit the ground. That's putting God to a foolish test. So we do what we can do, and then ask God to do what only God can do. We can't solve the virus, so we ask that God will end this. That's very, very important. Another thing that we have done during this time is try to talk about being outward focused. This is something that I've noticed when it all seems so overwhelming, a lot of times it's because we're inward focused. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? There are no more wipes or toilet paper at the store. And the more inward focused we get, the more our anxiety rises and the more we may feel like panicking. What I would say is then we got to get outward focused. Number one, focusing on Jesus. God is still on the throne. He is not fired. He is still in charge. But secondly, how can we help outwardly? And you say, well, we can't. We're stuck in our house. I'm seeing people doing amazing things that they never would have done. God was not surprised by this virus. I'm seeing people go check on their neighbors and meet their neighbors for the first time. They've never met their neighbors, never talked to them, and go check on their neighbors and make sure they're okay. I'm seeing a donation thing happening at my church where we're trying to find out who needs what and share and donate. There's 3 churches in my town that are helping the public school hand out meals to the children, because a lot of kids, that's their meal. That's their breakfast and lunch is at the school. What are they going to do? So again, I am so encouraged at seeing Christians stepping up to try to be like Christ and seeing churches be the church. Because as we know, it's not a building. It's not a building. It's the people. It's Christians going out there and acting like Christ. So I'm excited that the churches around here, they're doing everything they can. They are doing streaming. They are doing stuff for kids ministry online. They're trying to help get supplies to people who don't have supplies. They're trying to keep people healthy as well as they can, vulnerable people getting the supplies that they need instead of them all being gone. And I've heard nothing but positivity from the people in my town, just saying, okay, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna support each other. We're gonna encourage each other, which could be very, so important in the next few days. There was a time in my life several years back when I was very, very down. There were some things that had happened, extremely depressed. And one of the things I found that helped the most is I would say, I'm going to get out of this bed and I'm going to get done what I need to get done today, but I'm also going to make someone smile today. I'm going to make someone's day today. I'm going to make someone be thankful to God today. I'm going to be some answer to prayer somewhere today. And I found that all of a sudden when the focus shifted off of me, I felt so much better. And I said, God, use me today to help pick somebody up. Use me today. God, how can I help someone? So during this coronavirus, I've been saying to my family, what can we do to help lift somebody else up? Instead of focusing on, okay, we can't go to school, we can't go to work, we can't. What can we do? How can we help someone? How can we lift them up today? That might be texting them to say, hey, I prayed for you today. How are you? Facebook, Messenger, FaceTime, Skype, how are you? How are you doing? I miss you. And staying in touch with people maybe that you haven't in a long time. Our pastor made a good point. He said, God is working through this situation in ways that we wouldn't. And we're having to find new ways to spread the gospel. Or it's forcing us. Necessity is the mother of invention. My husband said that too. He said most churches do not change their method of outreach unless they have to. Why would they? We stick with what's comfortable. So this is a chance to find different ways to spread the gospel. And I want the gospel to spread and spread and spread 1,000 times more than coronavirus. Coronavirus will be gone like all the other plagues, and the gospel of Jesus Christ will keep going forward. So we need to find new ways to do it. For some churches, this is huge. They've never done streaming. They've never done recording of their services. They've never done a service with an online audience in mind, and they are having to broaden their horizons. So we have to embrace it and find ways to spread the gospel no matter what. That's extremely important. So I've been trying to create good memories with my kids every single day. I've been trying to get them to practice faith over fear, gratitude. We've been trying to do outward focus instead of just inward focus. And we have been praying diligently for the end of the coronavirus and for those affected by it. And we know that the fervent prayer of the righteous affecteth much. I remember that verse from when I was a kid from the book of James. Elijah was a man just like us, but when he prayed, it didn't rain for 3 years. So let's pray, Christians, for the end of this virus and for people who are infected to recover and get well, and for the protection of vulnerable people, that we don't want them to catch this, and that God will help us get a vaccine, a cure, and be able to go back to life soon. So I hope that made you smile today. I hope you can bake something delicious and tell us about it. So please comment below and tell us what you are doing while on lockdown for coronavirus. What kind of things have had you afraid? In what ways have you found something positive in all of this? How is your church reaching out to help your community or even those impacted by coronavirus? I was just reading this morning about how the early church, during the plague of Justinian, they were really the weirdos because the pagans were throwing the infected people out in the street to die, and the Christians were going out and caring for these people. I'm not suggesting that that's what you need to be doing. What I'm saying is we need to care and we need to pray, because that's our tradition as Christians. We have to be like Christ and pray and do what we can and let God do the rest. So we do our part, God does his part. So I love you guys. We're in this together. And have a good picnic tonight and enjoy your kids. And I had parents on there today saying, I can't take it anymore. It's day 2. I need them to go back to school. I haven't hit that point yet. Having fun having them at home at the moment. But try to make some good memories tonight. And see if this will make you smile. What did the snail say while riding on the back of the turtle? Some of you might not get that yet. What did the snail say when it got beat up by the turtle? What did it say to the cops? I don't know. It all happened so fast. Okay. I hope we made you smile. I hope God blesses your ministry even in these conditions. So thank you. Keep praying for the end of this virus. I love you. Thank you for what you do for Jesus and his kids. Please comment below what your church is doing. God bless. Mwah.